Hey everybody, welcome to day number 3 of the shoulder series. So today we are going to talk, as promised, about shoulder flexion. So you cannot press overhead properly without having this movement down. And I see this a lot of times, we both do, when people come to us with shoulder problems and I look at their shoulder flexion and they have maybe about here and then it's kind of stuck. So if you're going overhead but you don't have full shoulder flexion, it's coming from something else. Something like a lot of times rib cage and back movement. A lot of times it also can come from just your head jutting forward, making you think you have full range of motion, but you don't. All of these are not ideal. So today we're going to first, as always, assess shoulder flexion, see how much you have, and then we're gonna move into a stretch for it. So shoulder flexion, the best way to test it, as I did before, is going to be on the back. So this kind of makes you feel if you are actually limited in it, and it doesn't allow you to compensate pretty easy because it's easiest to feel. So lay on your back here. Again, start with your back on the ground. You can put one hand if you want to test one at a time, or just kind of feel your back onto that ground. Then from here, you're going to lift up overhead as far as you can. Now, you should be able to touch the ground with your arms. If you can only get to here and you feel like blocked or stuck, that is not full shoulder range of motion. Or if you can get to here, but you recheck and you're like, darn, my rib cage is off, that means that you're not getting there and you're cheating. So again, go back into that motion, pin the back down here, and then try again. And at that moment when you feel your back lift off, go back a little further. That's your full shoulder flexion. And if it is anything less than all the way back and down onto the ground, then you need to work on shoulder flexion and you're gonna do this stretch. If you can get there and you feel a little stiff and restricted, I would still recommend working on this stretch. At least until we talk about one of the future days. So let's go into the stretch from there. Now, again, I have these beautiful stick mobility sticks, which are super nice to have, but not everybody has them. So find 2 canes, 2 PVC pipes, something that is a stick. I don't know, maybe 2 sticks outside. You can just go grab those, that works too. So from here, you are going to assume the position. Both sticks are gonna be forward. You're going to hinge at your hips. So notice I'm not kind of going into this arch back position. I'm not rounding my back when I'm doing it. You wanna keep your back flat here, let your hips do the motion. Arms are gonna be forward, and you're gonna kind of sink down into that until you feel a pretty good stretch. That stretch should feel here. If you feel anything here, I want you to back off a little bit because that's probably pinching, and that's a sign that your joint isn't necessarily doing what it wants, and you don't wanna push into that pinching. So assume the position here, and as always, we're going to hold for 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. When that stretch is over, that 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes is done, you're going to then push and drive those sticks down into the ground like you're just trying to dig a hole to China or whatever. So hold and press, build that pressure up for 20 seconds as always. When that 20 seconds is up, you're going to try to lift your shoulders up and hold that for 20 seconds. When that is done, you're going to repeat that cycle one more time, and that's the full shoulder flexion stretch that we have for you today. Then you can do that every single day. Again, the more consistent you can be with it, the faster you'll get results. Tomorrow, we are going to work on day number 4, which is working on the shoulder blade, the scapula. That is the other part of the shoulder joint. It's often neglected, and we'll get into a little bit more about it tomorrow. So see you then.